Asia Pacific Regional CSO engagement mechanism is really for us, we are driven by the core objective of enhancing grassroots civil society organization capacity for enhanced advocacy around development outcomes in the regions.
It's high time that we started looking for an alternative to the neoliberal development models and formulations, which are basically getting us nowhere.
5 transformative shifts, we can't look at one without another. And that's partly the problem with the Sustainable Development Goals.
We already have our strong standpoint in the development justice. We really able to spot, the blank spots of the Agenda 2030. We can see it very clearly what kind of pillars are missing in the Agenda 2030.
2014 in comparison, where we saw that against the collective aid amount of $134 billion in ODA, almost like $2.1 trillion were taken out from the developing countries in trade mispricing and tax evasions.
Don't take into account the idea that development is part of that problem, the concept that the richer we all get, the better, and we don't have to measure the difference between the richest and what they're doing, which is the idea that we would just have a baseline poverty and just look at poverty eradication without looking at wealth accumulation.
500 million more people could be pushed into poverty just, as a consequence of the COVID-19.
We, for instance, like the lack of clarity around means of implementation, indicators, or business of as usual model of neoliberal development. We also see there's no accountabilities to the peoples and etc.
Sustainable Development Goals say they are trying to achieve is a redistribution of care.
The Global Sustainable Development Report from 2019 indicated that there is no data as far as Asia Pacific is concerned. There's no data on almost 60% of the environmental indicators.
We are not only just a platform for engagement or to serve whatever the UN agenda that we have, because we also have our own agenda. So that's why we have development justice from the very beginning as our political unity.
One thing that I thought was achieved by the feminist movements was to not only have that measured as the level of care between men and women, but the level of care that the state provides.
The decade of action demands the dismantling of neoliberal development framework that destroys the environment, starves people of resources and strips them of rights and criminalizes those who stand for justice. So I feel that it is high time that we opted for development justice.
We want to ensure also the reflection of development justice priorities are reflected across the shadow reports in the national level. So it's time for us to really support the national level movements.